Everybody, thanks for checking out Home Build Happiness once again. My name's Ron, and if you have a Toyota Corolla, this one's a 2014, we're going to show you very easily how to clean your MAF sensor, how to also clean your throttle body. Folks, this isn't very hard. You don't have to take your car to a mechanic. You can do it with just the cleaner and a Phillips head screwdriver. It's really simple. So we're going to take you through all the steps. And folks, if you enjoy the material, if we're giving you something that's adding some value to your life and saving you a dime or two, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you as part of the family. Let's dive in and take a look. So the main areas we're going to be looking at today, you've got your air cleaner underneath here. The MAF sensor is right here. Your air intake hose, and then your throttle body is right here. Now, when you're dealing with anything electronic, unplugging anything electrical, they always recommend to take off the negative battery terminal. I'm actually removing this battery just because I'm underneath here. Winter's starting to set in and there's some corrosion that's starting underneath this terminal. I want to clean these up before it gets too cold in the season, and you know, get some corrosion preventative on here. Alright, so a little bit of MAF 101 here. If you've never done this before, you might not even know what a MAF sensor is. Your mechanic might have said, hey, you need to do this and we're going to charge you some money, and you're going, what's that? Let's get into this real quickly before we even grab the tools. So your MAFs, well, let's rewind a little bit further. All these newer cars, everything's controlled by a computer. ECM controls everything. How much gas, what it does with spark and timing, and all these other complex things that occur, they're really all based off of one thing. And that's how much air is coming into the engine. Whether it's hot air, cold air, moist air, dry air, the density and the flow rate of that air really matters. And if your engine's getting signals that's saying that this air is dirty, it's not flowing as well, or it might not be as dense that it maybe really is, your engine's getting an incorrect signal. And if it's getting incorrect information, everything else it tries to calculate from that point on, it's going to be wrong. And a dirty MAF sensor will do that, because the MAF sensor, folks, is exactly what tells the engine everything it needs to know. As far as the air is concerned, it's letting it know what's coming in and what the quality of that air is, so that it can meter your fuel and everything else accordingly. Having that clean, it's kind of a big deal. So now that you know, we're going to start taking this thing apart and we'll get your MAF cleaned. Knock this out. We're going to be taking this guy off. It's 2 Phillips screws right here. We want to unplug any connectors that we're going to need to first. Then we'll undo this hose clamp right here, this one right here, and then we'll pull this intake hose out so that we can gain access to the throttle body. Alright, so we're going to grab can 1. It's our throttle body and air intake cleaner. So as you see what I've done right here, since this is sort of a like a throttle by wire kind of system, it doesn't have a linkage or a cable that goes back to the pedal. On older vehicles, you can generally just hold it open with your finger. There's a linkage right here. I've just taken the head of a screwdriver. You want to make sure whatever you put in here is going to be something plastic, something that's not going to scratch up the interior of this throttle body. You just want to grab your throttle body cleaner. You want to use this this nozzle. Give it a nice shake. We're just wanting to give bursts in here, and the areas that I'm looking at are going to be around the lip of this throttle body. So when the butterfly comes open, when that valve comes open, you're going to see some black. Let me see if I can show you. Look right down in here. You guys see all this, all that black that's right in there, like right on that end piece. I'm gonna wipe some of it off with my hand and let you see what it's supposed to look like. See that black on my finger? And you'll notice it's shiny. That's what we want to make this whole thing. We want to get it all shiny like that. I've also got some lint-free cloths, and I might get in there and do a little bit of manual work on it. But you want to give about 15 bursts of this with the nozzle. Kind of let it sit, maybe give 5 or 10, let it sit, and then give it 5 or 10 more. And we're also looking at where that butterfly closes. Pretty much anywhere that that butterfly has any metal-to-metal contact, we want to make sure that we look at that. And I've got a couple lint-free cloths here, and I'm just going to take, and again, I'm just going to kind of very gently go in here, try to clean up anything that I can physically see and get to. All right, we got our MAF. Sorry about that blower. We got our MAF sensor right here. What we're looking at cleaning, folks, is going to be the metal sensors that are in there and the metal sensor that is right there. And again, it's very critical that you do not touch these components with anything. Only the liquid coming out of the sprayer. I would not recommend getting up on them either. But if you see any dirt like up around here, you just want to make sure you clean this thing off. Get it nice and clean. The directions tell you to hold it back a few inches, give it a about 10 to 15 bursts, and then you should be good to reinstall. Here we'll go, just like this. We'll let this sit about a minute. I'll hit it one more time and we'll call it good, and we'll get ready for reinstall. And guys, I'm just putting this back together. Really funny thing, I'll link this video up in the corner. In this video where I'm doing the van's tapered roller bearings for the front end, I make a joke about how me and Lauren have this ongoing thing where I always talk about every single time I do something on a car that requires any kind of sterility, every single time these lawn people show up. Like, it always happens, and we're literally 2 states away from where that video was made. Like, it doesn't matter where we are. Oh, that's funny. Guys, check that video out if you're interested in this kind of stuff. All right, let's go ahead and zip this thing back together. We've got our intake tube back on. We got our throttle body clean. We've got our air filter back in. All we need to do is tighten these hose clamps down. We're gonna get our MAF back in, and then we're gonna button her up and get our battery cleaned up. Alright folks, so we got everything back together, right? We got our MAF back on, we got our intake hose, throttle body's cleaned, and guys, check out all of this dirt that we got off of just the throttle body alone. So it's definitely worth doing this. The stuff that I was getting was actually behind that throttle body plate. So our battery, all we did was use soap and water and a nylon bristle brush. We cleaned that up. We used a battery terminal cleaner on both sides of this. And then at any auto parts store, you guys can grab this. It's a no corrode gel. They have quite a few variations of this stuff. They have some that's a red spray. This is just kind of like a pinkish gel. We're gonna rub everything down, throw it back together, fire the car up, ensure that it runs, and just know that if you've had your battery offline for more than 30 minutes, everything that your computer's learned as far as adjusting fuel trim, air fuel mixture, and all of that is gonna be reset as if it were a brand new car. So your first 50 miles, it may run a little rough. That's just so that it can relearn everything that it's basically come to know about the vehicle. All those little nuances and items that have worn in, it has to relearn that. So let's get her fired up. We've got everything cleaned up. We've taken this car on a little test drive. It is running fantastic. It only took us about an hour to do everything, and that's taken our time. We used the air hose, we vacuumed a little bit of this stuff. You don't even have to do that. If you want, all you gotta do is pull this guy off and blast it one time. Well folks, I appreciate you checking out the channel, and if I've inspired you, grab your flathead Phillips, grab the screwdriver and do the damn thing. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch you folks next time. Bye. All right, let's roll.